The Viking Myth. Understanding Vikings' history and mythology, their cultural role and influence on the popular imagery. Written by Mike Parson. Narrated by Hadi Hajjar. Chapter 1. Why Vikings? Heroes or villains? Vikings are a part of everyday life. For a people who lived around 1,000 years ago, their omnipresence is remarkable. They are a marketing device, a tourist attraction, and a subject on the national curriculum. They appear at museums, Viking festivals, and heritage sites, and in comic strips, films, novels, and children's history books. If the Vikings have sailed into the realm of legend, if everyone loves the Vikings, then the question is why? What qualities have set Vikings apart from so many other historical peoples? To make them a part of modern popular culture? How have the historical and legendary Vikings intersected with later periods to create the contemporary Viking myth? Viking interpretations of the late 20th century are largely in a positive phase. But the question of what qualities make the Vikings a positive force does not always provoke the same answer. Over the last 4 decades of the century, there has been a general move towards emphasizing constructive aspects of Viking culture, urban and rural life, Viking contributions to Europe's economic and industrial developments during their era, and the vibrancy and freshness of Viking visual arts, rather than focusing on warfare. Since the Viking period itself, it seems that a crucial aspect of the Viking mythos has been that they are not like everyone else. The hero-villain controversy, to a large extent, has been the element that keeps the Vikings myth alive. The Vikings' glamour is a glamour of extremes. They are the most bloodthirsty barbarians of all time, or else the most glorious adventurers, and promoting one side of the conflict or the other is a time-honored way of interacting with the Viking past. In the late 20th century, heroic and villainous Vikings seem to have allied with convenience against the Viking homemaker. This restructuring of conflict helps explain Viking scholars' uneasy relationship with the Viking of popular imaginings. The heroic and villainous Vikings may seem academically suspect, but they are still the Vikings that sell. They are the Vikings who bring visitors to museums and Viking centers, who create much of the market for Viking-themed publications, and who surely must be credited with initially bringing many scholars into the field of Viking studies. Defining Viking. The origin of the word Viking is a focus of much argument. Often it is connected with Old English Viking, a word meaning pirate, which is known from pre-Viking age sources and is used occasionally in Anglo-Saxon chronicle entries. Meanwhile, the West Norse words Viking and Vikinger, meaning respectively piracy or warfare at sea, and pirate, sea warrior, are used frequently in the post-Viking Age Icelandic sagas and are the direct ancestors of the modern word. Again, however, their derivation is a subject of debate. One of the most commonly encountered suggestions of the origin of Viking, Vikinger, is the Norse word vik, meaning creek or bay, which would make the Vikings people of the bay, or a more aggressive possibility, perhaps people who attack from the bays or creeks. There's also a specific place name Vik, referring to the Oslo Fjord region of Norway, but it seems more plausible to assign the place name and term Viking a common origin rather than to argue that Vikings were, at least initially, seen as hailing from the Vik region. Following the lead of Viking and Vikinger, then it seems logical to use the modern word Viking as an equivalent to pirate. The Oxford Dictionary of Current English takes this line, giving a straightforward interpretation untroubled by the debates and confusions that frequently cloud the issue. A Viking is a Scandinavian pirate and raider of the 8th to 11th centuries. Equally simple is the distinction used in books in print, in which the subject heading Viking covers works on the Norse sea warriors only. General works are entered under the heading Northmen. Unfortunately, uses of Viking are seldom so uncomplicated. Although the practical meaning of the word is readily acknowledged, in practice Viking has been burdened with far more complex associations.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?